Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Tonight on Our News, could the election be called this week? The PM responds. This as voters rush to register, plus exclusive coverage of Tokyo 2020. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis says only he knows when the general election will be as the Prime Minister makes that decision. Minnis called PLP leader Philip Davis a politician of the past and urged voters to move to the future. Kyle Joaquin has more.
First of all, only the Prime Minister makes such a decision.
With both the opposition leader and House Speaker speculating that the Prime Minister could dissolve Parliament this week, Minnis told reporters today only he knows when the election will be. Despite direct questions, Minnis didn't give a straight answer, nor did he refute those claims.
The Prime Minister makes those decisions, not him.
And nothing coming this week then? No dissolving of Parliament this week?
The Prime Minister speaks, not the Leader of the Opposition. The Leader of the Opposition said there'll be dissolution. The Prime Minister did not say that.
But it was a different story on the campaign trail leading up to the 2017 general election, when Minnis, the then opposition leader, promised a fixed election date. And now, with mounting speculation that an early election is imminent, the opposition has ramped up its calls for the bell to be rung, with Davis expecting it to happen as early as this week. Well, Minnis shut Davis and the PLP down quickly today.
The PLP, unfortunately, is always in denial, and they've demonstrated that in 1992 when the FNM won the government. They were in denial and saying that it's only temporary. They demonstrated that again in 2007 when they refused to accept defeat. So I'm not surprised with the statement made by the Leader of the Opposition. But the Leader of the Opposition is not the Prime Minister.
With COVID numbers on the rise again, Minnis was asked whether this would be a good time for there to be a general election.
I didn't say we will have an election now, you know.
This campaign.
We've been campaigning, yes, but we've been doing it in a responsible manner.
Now that there is a permanent register, there is a push for new voters to register. According to Minnis, new voters should be able to see what his administration has done, calling the PLP leader a thing of the past.
They can see that we are opening doors for them. They know they are well, right-thinking individuals, they are intelligent individuals, and they know and recognize that the PLP and Davis are party and politicians of the past. Let's move to the future.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, PLP leader Philip Davis says he has reason to believe Parliament will be dissolved as early as this week and urged new voters to register. Giorgio Bain has that angle.
All signs point to an early election being called, according to the leader of the Progressive Liberal Party, Philip Davis, who says while he believes there are several reasons why the Prime Minister may call a snap election, he believes that it may disadvantage voters who have yet to register.
All signs point to the bell being rung this week. Ballot boxes have arrived in the Family Islands. FNM signs are being moved around the country. Preparations for the advance poll are well underway. Embassies abroad have been notified, and the Speaker of the House has pointed to Tuesday as the date Parliament will be dissolved.
Davis has accused the Prime Minister of playing political games when pressed on rumored plans for a snap election. On Friday, Minnis remained tight-lipped on the matter, telling reporters it's been demonstrated repeatedly that I always prepare at least 1 year in advance.
In his last campaign, he promised a fixed election date, just one of many, many broken promises. In this campaign, he's playing games with the timing. Games that are deceptive and disrespectful to voters.
Asked if his party is prepared for an early election, Davis says the PLP is ready.
I don't expect that our leadership will not be questioned. It'll be questioned by those who are not supporting us, and that will be their position. Right? But we just want anyone who questions us, just look, first of all, at my track record in public life and how I've handled the Bahamian people in my public life. I want them to look at my track record in dealing with people, period, and judge us by that.
Davis also raised concerns over whether Bahamians have been sufficiently educated on a new permanent register of voters. According to Davis, with so many persons changing address due to Hurricane Dorian and the pandemic, they should be allowed to register without any unnecessary difficulty.
New voters are able to register with an affidavit. Voters who have moved should be granted the same ability to register at their new address. It is the responsibility of the Prime Minister and the Parliamentary Commissioner to ensure that everyone who wants to register can do so without any unnecessary and unjustifiable difficulty.
Reporting from the PLB headquarters for our news, I'm Georgia O'Bain.
Amid mounting speculation of a snap election, there were long lines outside the Parliamentary Registration Department and post offices today as people rushed to get registered. Jasmine Brown has that.
A crowded scene outside the Parliamentary Registration Department's Farrington Road offices as scores of residents lined up outside to register. Some had been waiting as early as 7 a.m. Many of the people we met outside the department were seeking to change their addresses, including former Senator Rodney Moncur and his family.
Due to the fact that my house was destroyed by fire, I've not been living in Black Village. Me, my wife, and at least one of my adult sons. We have been living in our office. So the issue arises as to where should I vote lawfully.
In the middle of the rush, many of the people we spoke to complained about the process, calling it disorganized and insisting there was a lack of communication about what documents are needed.
This is going to frustrate a lot of people because you come here ready to make sure you're straight, then they tell you have to go back. They need to make an announcement what people need to do.
The process is very old. It needs to be updated. And what's going to happen now for persons like myself that are trying to beat the rush, there's a chance that I'm not going to come back, which means that I'm not going to vote.
Plenty of these people here losing a day from work. They don't get paid. They done ain't making no money. They're being laid off all those months. And they can tell me you come down here and they don't have sense enough to put in the papers or on the air for the people.
Acting Parliamentary Commissioner Lovato Duncanson said the department has made every effort to keep the public informed, adding voter registration has been an ongoing process for years. He also revealed that since 2017, there have been 4,436 transfers into constituencies across the Bahamas.
We noticed that persons who presented themselves for some services, those persons who present themselves for transfer surpassed the actual persons who came in last week for registration at many of our centers.
Despite the wait, some voters were determined to brave the long lines for the opportunity to vote.
They just need to hurry up with it, get this thing done and over with. I think the people of the Bahamas is ready.
Now, we did speak to some people off camera, like displaced residents from Grand Bahama and Abaco, who say they lost everything during Dorian, and now they have to go through the tough process of registering to vote with little to no documents. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Members of the Boundaries Commission are at odds with Chairman Halson Moultrie after he signed and submitted the Commission's report to the Governor General by himself. However, Moultrie says he was well within his rights to do so. Berthany McDermott reports.
Boundaries Commission Chairman Halson Moultrie is defending his decision to submit the Boundaries Commission's report to the Governor General with just his signature. In an interview with Our News on Monday, Moultrie asserted that the signature of all members isn't required.
Let me say that the Constitution has no provision in it that mandates the signature of all 5 members.
The Constitution requires the concurrence of at least 3 members for any decision by the Commission. Moultrie's comments come days after fellow members, Supreme Court Justice Deborah Frazier, Health Minister Renwood Wells, Agriculture Minister Michael Pintard, and Exumas and Ragged Island MP Chester Cooper called the move a clear and flagrant breach of the Constitution. Moultrie said he sent a request to members to report to the Majority Room to sign the report, but only 1 member responded.
I received notice from the Honorable Member for the Exumas and Ragged Island that he was in his constituency, but he was prepared to sign the report if he was satisfied with the contents. So his signature was conditional. I received no response from the other 3 members.
Moultrie said he and other officials waited from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, but the others were a no-show. He insisted it is disingenuous for other members to suggest that it was a one-man report.
This report was submitted to all members of the commission, and I am holding up here a draft copy of this report.
The report, which was obtained by Our News, recommends a statutory independent constituency commission. It also says it is the will of the commission that there be no change to the 39 electoral seats. Annex 2, which is Moultrie's dissenting opinion, was attached to the document. He says there is a need for 4 additional constituencies, 3 on New Providence and 1 on Grand Bahama for voter parity. He also recommends splitting the Maikal constituency and reintroducing the constituency of Inagua and Meguana and the constituency of Acklands, Crooked Island, and Long Key. Now, the remaining members say they plan to write to the Governor General advising him to reject the report. To that, Moultrie says they can do whatever they want, but he doesn't think they have the grounds to do so. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
In other news, the pandemic is finished for vaccinated individuals, at least according to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. However, he says he's concerned about the increasing number of COVID-19 cases. 100 new cases were confirmed yesterday.
The vaccinated individuals are now out of the pandemic. The pandemic is finished for the vaccinated individual. The non-vaccinated individuals are still in the pandemic, and therefore it's essential for us to aggressively, which we're doing, to aggressively pursue vaccines so that we can vaccinate our populace as quickly and efficiently as possible.
On Friday, U.S. President Joe Biden said the only pandemic is among the unvaccinated. While chances of hospitalization are lower once vaccinated, those individuals can still contract and spread the virus. Minnis says officials are speaking with cruise lines to explore getting Bahamians to Florida to be vaccinated.
We are in discussion with other cruise lines, etc., to see whether it's possible we can move thousands of our people to Florida at the expense of the government to be vaccinated, because we feel that life is much more important than money.
The Prime Minister also responding to questions about a possible tightening of restrictions.
We would have discussions with the medical personnel, both tertiary as well as public health, and personnel from the EOC. We would make decisions. However, our decisions would be responsible to ensure that there are no additional deaths and to ensure that our economy continue to roar as it is today.
Well, mostly sunny skies today. Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with the latest.
Thanks, Christina. Welcome, everybody, for your Monday first look at weather. Very warm conditions outside our studios. Temperatures in the low 80s, 82 degrees outside our studios. Just a few clouds. Your winds are out of the southeast at 6 knots, and your field strike temperature also in the mid to upper 80s. Satellite view around the region, very quiet around the islands. We do have some pop-up showers across most of the large islands. Some patchy clouds moving to the south of Andros. Those clouds are starting to wane as the evening sets in. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, Rev providing exclusive coverage of Tokyo 2020 and a partially decomposed body discovered. The details after this.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
The countdown is on to Tokyo 2020, and Rev has exclusive Olympics coverage. Marcellus Hall has the details.
All right, thanks a lot. Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. As you can tell by our attire and, of course, what's going on in the background, the old saying says, ain't long now, and it really isn't, because the Olympic Games are just a couple of days away. We'll, of course, be providing you coverage from those games as we head on down to Tokyo tomorrow and bring you all the updates as they happen. Meanwhile, though, Rev is also stepping in, courtesy of Trio, to make sure you don't miss any of the action. Let's take a look. With the Olympic Games just a few days away in Tokyo, Japan, Bahamians will be waiting with bated breath to see just how well Team Bahamas will do once competition gets underway. Rev, along with Trio, stepping forward now to make sure the enhanced experience is possible for its customers. Odette Carey speaking on behalf of the company.
We're so excited because every year we bring in more and more sports content. We bought NFL Sunday Ticket, NBA League Pass, Premier League, and now we're bringing the Olympics. And needless to say, Rev is actually the exclusive cable provider to air the Olympics this year. And so we're just so excited. What does that mean? There's actually no other TV provider, no other station outside of Rev, outside of our TV, that can actually air the Olympics. And so you want to be tuning in to Rev to listen, to watch, to hear the latest of all our Bahamian athletes, what's happening. And not to mention, you could actually watch it on the go as well with the Rev Go Play app.
Now, according to Carey, Trio customers will have an added incentive to sign up.
Being a Trio customer comes with obviously endless benefits. If you're a Trio customer, you actually have access to 17 channels that will be provided, all showing different content for the Olympics, different feeds, different events, different activities. And so the benefit is you have access to all the content there. However, if you're not a Trio customer, for $9.99, you get to access all the channels, all 17 channels as mentioned. And if you're not a Trio customer, you get to access 2 curated channels that will be available free of charge to all Rev TV customers so that they can stay in touch and watch what's happening with regards to the Olympics.
On to some basketball news now, where the Phoenix Suns find themselves on the bad end of a best-of-7 series after starting out so well, taking a 2-0 lead. They have now lost 3 in a row and are now on the verge of elimination. DeAndre Ayton in the latest outing finished up with 20 points, 10 rebounds, but at the end of the day, it was Milwaukee walking away with the victory on Phoenix's home court. The series shifts now to Milwaukee for Game 6, which will take place in Milwaukee. A chance now for them to close out the series. DeAndre and Chris Paul, as well as the Phoenix Suns, now have to find a way to at least extend the series to a Game 7. And there it is, your check on sports for you here on this Monday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Thanks, Marcellus. In other news, police investigating the suspicious death of a man whose partially decomposed body was found in his Horseshoe Drive home. ASP Audley Peters says police visited the home around 11 a.m. after neighbors reported a foul odor.
The officers arrived on scene and were not able to access the house immediately. They confirmed this odor, and so they had reason to breach the door, and they went into the house and into a southeastern room, where they found the body of a male, partially decomposed.
Family members on the scene identified the man as 65-year-old Hillary Gibson. His cousin says Gibson lived alone and had medical issues, adding they last heard from him on Thursday.
He always was a smart person. Pencil and paper and reading and writing, my whole family. That's what he used to do. He never...
Did he have any kids?
No, he didn't have no kids, he had no wife, he had no girlfriend, he had nothing. That's why he did it through the hard surgery what he had. You understand? The hard surgery what he had, he didn't get no like sudden destruction or nothing like that. Right. You understand? You sneak him on the back and say, hey, what you doing? Then he'd fall out and dead. Through his hard was anywhere leave.
Well, a man was attacked and robbed as he was preparing to make a bank deposit in the Harbor Bay Shopping Center today in an incident caught on video. Police say the attacker got away in a small car.
A gentleman went to make a deposit and he was accosted by a male who was in a small vehicle. The video will be of some assistance to us, and I can assure members of the public and that individual in due course, we should have someone in custody who will be placed before the court for this incident.
When our news returns, outstanding Bahamians receive Queen's honors. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is our news. Welcome back. Dozens of outstanding Bahamians receiving Queen's honors at Baha Mar Convention Center today in recognition of their contributions to the country's development. Businessman Sir Godfrey Kelly topped the list, receiving the most distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, while 106-year-old Matilda Robinson was happy to receive the British Empire Medal.
Just flatten here, pick the fingernail and toenail, that's all. But I never used to do nothing. Not in my life. Yeah, in that age now, you know, some people, they do all kind of things, but nothing I do. Just talk to the children and lick them and tell them how to rule, have manners and respect, take it to the world.
This is the first time the ceremony has been held off of Government House grounds. Honorees came from all over the country. Businessman Gregory Sherman says he was honored to be recognized.
But when I really listened to what I was being honored for, I was elated that someone or a group of people even considered me, being a young entrepreneur, starting out in early 2000 and now to 2021.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Greg is back after this with our extended weather forecast. Stay tuned.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. There may be some rain ahead this week. Greg is back in the Weather Center with the details.
Thanks again, Christina. Welcome back, everybody, for your second look at weather. Very quiet conditions around the islands. We do have an upper level low that's spinning near southeast Cuba. That's sparking a few showers, mainly across Hispaniola, but some of those showers are moving into the southeast Bahamas. So you're now going to Tricks and Kickers Islands. You guys seen a couple of those. And we have some showers to the southwest of Andros. Most of those are waning as we speak. The high pressure ridge continues to dominate across the region, but the tropics remaining quiet. A couple of tropical waves out there. No real organization to those systems over the next couple of days. Boating forecast for the northwest Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. East to southeast winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean, while in the central and southeastern island, a caution flag still in place. East to southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, 4 to 6 foot seas. You can expect a low tide just after 10 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Saturday. That's a look at our weather. Have a safe night, everybody. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg, and thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.